everybody. This is Dr. Stephanie, your double board certified critical care physician who works with physicians that are struggling with their jobs, burnt out with their careers, or who just want some career advice. Through my books, webinars, coaching, and speaking, I help physicians discover alternative jobs and careers in medicine so that they can practice medicine on their own terms. Good afternoon, everybody. And I just wanted to take this time to share with you something that I just found out about. A friend of mine posted on another Facebook group an article that talks about how Stanford Medicine has just hired its first chief physician wellness officer. And this is huge because they just hired a physician and put him in a top leadership position to do one thing and one thing only: to treat and prevent physician burnout in that institution. And that is huge. That is amazing. This physician that has this position, hi Dr. Regina, just was at the Mayo Clinic. And as we all know, the Mayo Clinic has done groundbreaking research about how to treat and prevent physician burnout. And one of the things that they have done is to design systems and organizational changes that will reduce burnout, to reduce the work stress that physicians experience. So this is amazing because it starts to signal a paradigm shift in the treatment and prevention of physician burnout, because so often so many interventions are designed to increase physician resilience. And that's only part of it. A lot of the causes of burnout have to do not just with physicians ourselves, but with the organizations that we work in and the environments and the cultures that we work in. I've shared this to you all before, and I'm going to share it again. I worked at a hospital, and I worked there as an intensivist, and it was a 26-bed ICU. And granted, we didn't have to see everybody in the intensive care unit. It was a mixed med-surg intensive care unit. But, you know, we were ultimately responsible for whatever went on in that intensive care unit. So things could be quite busy. And then not only did we have to take care of everybody in that intensive care unit, we also had to go to the code blues, the code strokes, the code sepsis, and the rapid responses. So we had responsibilities outside of the intensive care unit as well. And one day, the CEO at this hospital stopped me in the hallway, and he began talking to me, and he looked at me and told me that his job as the CEO was more stressful than my job as an intensivist. Hey, Dr. T.D. Jones, how are you? And I couldn't believe he was saying that, because here this man is a CEO of a hospital, but he sits in meetings all day. And I take care of critically ill patients all day. If he has a bad meeting, who cares? If I have a bad day, it has severe consequences if I have a bad day, if I have an off game. So he's sitting up here telling me that his job is more stressful than my job. He sat up here and told me that I knew that the ICU was a 26-bed ICU when I signed up for the job, and he told me that if I couldn't stand the heat, to get out the kitchen. Now here I am, a board certified, critical care physician, and there's a shortage of not just the doctors, there's a shortage of critical care doctors, and here I am choosing to work in his hospital for below market rate to provide excellent critical care, and he told me that if I didn't like working there, I could leave. So that conversation really upset me, because I said, you know, if the CEO of a hospital doesn't understand what his physicians are up against and what our jobs are like and the amount of stress we're under, then nobody else is going to understand this. Because we know that the climate of an organization, the culture of an organization starts at the top. It starts at the top and permeates to the levels below. So if your leadership and your organization don't understand who you are and what kind of work you do, and don't care about the workplace stressors that impact your job, then that organization is not going to be supportive of you. So true, says Dr. T.D. Jones. So I left. And it was at that point, and I left for some other reasons as well. And I had always been doing locums, but I started back doing locums full time because I decided that I wanted to be my own chief wellness officer, because a lot of us don't work at organizations that are as forefront and are as physician friendly as the Mayo Clinic and as Stanford. A lot of us don't work at organizations who are willing to invest and fund research and treatment and initiatives to combat physician burnout. And for those of us who don't work at these types of organizations who put our health and wellness at the forefront, then we have to take the next step and become our own chief wellness officer and do what we need to do to improve our own health and wellness and well-being. So I left employed positions and I started doing locums again full-time, and I have not looked back, because locums gives me freedom. It gives me flexibility. I control my time. I control my schedule. If I don't want to work, I don't work. When I want to work, I work. If I work at a place and I don't like it, guess what? I don't have to come back. I don't have to feel like, because I'm an employed physician and because I'm an employee at that place, that I have to deal with all of the idiosyncrasies that go on, that I have to fix things, that I have to deal with all the politics and the organizational issues. I don't have to do that as a locums doctor. And as a result of that, I became my chief wellness officer, and I began focusing on me and my life and my family. And that's what I encourage for you guys. Whatever it is you need to do to become your own chief wellness officer, you need to do that. Whether or not it is changing your work, changing your job, changing how your own personal activities and habits, do it, because you can't rely on other people to do it for you. And for my physicians who are seriously thinking about making a job change and making a career change, who want to regain control of their time, who want to regain control over their schedule, who want to regain control over their career, I seriously encourage you to consider doing locums. I mean, y'all, look at it like this. We just finished celebrating Independence Day. But are we truly free? Are you truly free, or are you in bondage to your job? I mean, most physicians have to plan their holidays months in advance. Most physicians can't just take off a random day, because we have to make sure that our patients are cared for. We have to make sure we have coverage. And when we are off, we pay for it when we get back. We can't pay for it in the terms of you've got to make up that time you missed. You've got to make up those extra shifts. You've got to answer all the phone calls and texts and emails. So even when we do take vacation, it's not a real vacation. But what kind of life is that? You're being held bondage to your job, and nobody signed up for that kind of thing. So that's why I encourage you to look at doing locums. And if you have ever wondered whether locums is for you, if you are in the midst of making a job transition, a career transition, register for my Locums Life Academy at www.locumslifeacademy.com, because being a locums doctor, working for yourself, having the freedom and flexibility to work wherever, whenever, however you want to work, gives you the opportunity to become your own chief wellness officer. www.locumslifeacademy.com. This is Dr. Stephanie. We will talk soon. Bye-bye.